Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Hana de Freitas, and I am the relocation manager with Packimpex, your local destination services provider here in the Netherlands. I'm delighted to be here today alongside one of our trusted partners, Sijmon de Boer from Estate Group. Together, we are here to discuss the realities of the current Dutch rental housing market. And as you may know, finding a rental home in this competitive market can be challenging. During today's session, we will highlight some of the key challenges people face when searching for a home and explore effective strategies to navigate these challenges successfully. Well, before we dive into the discussion, I'd like to give a floor to Sijmon to briefly introduce himself and share a bit about his role and expertise. So Sijmon, over to you.
Thank you, Hannah. Thank you for the introduction. So I'm Sijmon de Boer. I am a real estate agent working for Estate Group, and we are specialized in assisting people with their relocation, but especially the housing part. So we will find furnished, unfurnished apartments for foreigners moving to Amsterdam, and together with the other preferred suppliers, we have the pleasure to assist Packimpex in the relocation.
Thank you, Sijmon, for this introduction and also again for joining us today. Well, let's get started with an overview of the market. Our main topic is the housing market in the Netherlands, as I mentioned, and to begin, we'll focus on the market dynamics and trends. So how would you characterize the current housing market? What are the major challenges for renters and for landlords alike?
Nowadays it's an extremely tight market. We see that the demand is still very high, but there is a huge shortage on available rental houses in Amsterdam, but the whole Netherlands. The higher budgets are still accessible, but budgets around 1,500 to 2,000 is extremely limited available. And then especially the furnished houses within this budget are even lower on stock. We do see an increase of new developments coming into the market, and they have availabilities, let's say, up to 2,000 euros. But the market gets more and more tight after, since the last few months. So it makes it a bit more complicated to find the right houses for our customers.
And what has caused these significant changes you are mentioning in the housing market? Of course, the Affordable Housing Act comes to mind, but are there other factors?
Yes, indeed, the Affordable Housing Act came into place on July 1st this year. But we see a combination of regulations which caused the tight market. The Box 3 income tax has changed. So landlords, individual landlords who own apartments, houses, and rent them out, they're going to pay higher tax. But also the overdrachtsbelasting, the transfer tax, has been increased the last couple of years from 2% now to 10.4%. And all those rules together make it less attractive for landlords, for owners who invested. Less attractive to invest and to generate return of investment. So landlords, individual landlords, are more and more selling their properties. So the housing market, the rental market is getting a smaller market.
And could you maybe share some factual information or numbers just to illustrate those changes, maybe compared to last year?
Yes, absolutely. I will show you the statistics from Pararius, because Pararius is the biggest platform of rentals, and they keep the numbers. And every quarter, they will inform us on the development in the market. To start with, here we see the availabilities of the rental apartments coming on the market in the Netherlands. And you see the difference from Q1 2021 up to Q3 2024. And in the market where everything was a bit more in balance in Q1 2021, we see that on average there were 35,000 apartments, houses listed on the market. And this has been decreased for now in Q3 2024 to only 12,368 houses. And compared with last year, it's 37.6% less. So the availabilities get less because people stay in their apartments. They don't move again. And the reason is that they don't move. They can't find other good rental accommodation. What I will also show you is the numbers from the market versus rental versus selling market. So here we see the lines, so the black line and the red line. And it's also compared with Q1 2021. You see that the lines were equal and now they are moving away from each other. Q3 2024, we see that a lot of rental apartments move to the selling market. We see that 2,051 houses have moved from the rental market to the selling market. And last year, it was only 1,261 houses which have moved from the rental market to the selling market. In a normal market, landlords always sell their properties or buy extra. But what we see now is that more and more rental houses move to the selling market. And that creates a shortage on the rental market. And if we look to the right diagram, we see the percentage of the old rental houses which have moved to the selling market. Normally, it's always somewhere between 3 and 4%, which is a healthy percentage. And this has now increased to 9%. So yeah, that's a lot. So that makes it the market of rental markets gets more and more limited.
Oh, yeah, this is very insightful, Sijmon. Also, what you just mentioned, really significant numbers. And, just to re-highlight, we're talking about decreased rental availability by almost 38% comparing 2023 to 2024.
Correct. Yep.
Well, looking ahead, what trends do you foresee in the housing market, particularly regarding the new developments and maybe availabilities in this year, 2025?
Yeah, of course, the Affordable Housing Act will still be in place. So I think what we can expect is that we do see a shift more from rentals to selling market. So the market gets more and more tight. Private landlords are selling their properties. And what you see that most of the individual private landlords, they haven't primarily focused in the older parts of the city, especially Amsterdam, with smaller apartments of 50 square meters. But the energy labels are relatively lower, C, D, E, or even lower labels. And those apartments are no longer on the free market, so they will be sold. And we see that again, the rentals are moving from a rental to the selling market. The government created the Affordable Housing Act to stimulate more affordable houses, middle-duur rentals, but we don't see an increase of availabilities here. So this market is not really getting bigger. And what we also see is that more, let's say, institutional investment companies who create houses, who are building apartments. We see that there are new availabilities coming into the market, and especially in areas around the old city center, Amsterdam North or West or South. There you will find more and more new developments. So this can give some opportunities for our customers who search houses.
Mm-hmm. So it seems that we are looking trends of rental pricing still increasing, supply lowering, and what kind of real changes are we to expect in the next years?
So what we will see is that from the 1st of January, each landlord has the obligation to provide a point calculation attached to a rental agreement. This has the reason that the landlord should do this, then they can confirm that the apartment they're renting out is a free sector apartment. Again, private individual landlords will sell more properties, which could reduce the supply on short term. And we see more and more collaboration with bigger investment companies. This can bring new opportunities. And we can also assist the customers in a relative complicated process, because the institutional investment companies, they work different than private landlords. So first you need to create a profile, upload all your documents, and then they're going to start with the background check. So this can take a bit longer, and we as an agency can assist our clients here and also create opportunities. Let's say a direct entrance with these investment companies.
Okay, thanks, Sijmon. Well, I think that you brought us nicely to the next topic, which we were going to discuss. It's investment companies and their role in the housing market. So as a destination services provider, we are now seeing a significant trend in securing housing that offers really both increased availability and relatively affordable rental prices. I must say that this segmentation of the rental market is quite complex in the Netherlands and can be challenging to understand at first glance. We see that there are multiple layers to the housing supply. So just to start off, can you give us a brief overview of how investment companies and housing corporations operate in the market?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, there is a clear difference between the two. So housing corporations primarily focus on affordable social or affordable housing. Social housing is rental prices up to 850 euros plus. And there is a registration possibility, but there is a very long waiting list before you can even apply for social housing. In Amsterdam, the waiting list is up to 20 years, and there is a maximum income. And the housing corporation focus on middelduur rental housing. And also here there is a maximum income of 64,000 euros for the single persons and 85,000 for a more persons household. Only the different cities, Amsterdam or Utrecht, they can have different income demands for these types. And the investment companies have a primary focus on free sector housing, because they are concentrating on achieving higher investment returns throughout long-term rental opportunities. They are more focused on free sector, higher rental prices.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's evident that each of these segments serves different purposes and demographics, and understanding the difference between them, I think, is critical for internationals relocating to the Netherlands. So how can an investment company, being generally more affordable, be an option for an expat moving to the Netherlands?
Investment companies offer attractive opportunities for expats on a variety of reasons. They can provide affordable houses, so houses within the budget 1,500 up to 2,000. Of course, more expensive, but especially in this market segment where there is a huge shortage and a high demand, they offer good opportunities. The apartments the majority are newly renovated or even newly built properties. So everything is new, it works perfectly. And then you have good energy labels, so very energy efficient apartments. Most of the properties of these companies are unfurnished, sometimes even bare, which is it is important, a key point to note. The reason is that they want tenants to invest in these apartments so that they are willing to commit for long term in these apartments. A downside, however, is that investment companies often a different approach to a tenant acceptance. As a tenant, you first create a personal profile on the website. You upload all your documents, and investment companies request more than a standard work contract and a copy passport, but you need a DigiD. You need an employment statement. You need to show your bank account, bank card, and a number of other documents. And then they're gonna do a background check. So this whole process can take a bit longer. And if you are in a hurry, it's not always the right option to work via an investment companies. And newly built projects may have tentative moving dates and not always immediately available per date. And that can cost because the buildings are not ready yet, or they can have delays with the finishing of the complex. So also here, when you're going to go for a newly built apartment complex, there is a risk with the starting date. Tenants should also understand that these companies typically focus on long-term commitments. So contracts are minimum 12 months, sometimes even minimum 24 months. But on the other hand, you can stay as long as you want.
And from your perspective as a broker, what is your take on working with the investment companies? Is it possible?
Yes, it is absolutely possible, but also here, we work on a relationship with the investment companies. We try to get access, direct access to this part, and sometimes we have, sometimes we can create direct access to the investment opportunities, and we can have a bit of advantage on other candidates, so that our customers, with a good profile and if they have all the documents prepared, we can introduce them directly to the investment companies. And again, in the market segment 1500 to 2000, nowadays it's crucial that we work with the investment companies. Otherwise, we have no possibility to work in this market segment.
Well, now let's move to our next topic, alternative platforms and the risks that come with them. There are so many different websites and platforms on the market, as we know, and sometimes it can be really confusing to navigate. So what are your thoughts on these platforms?
There are indeed a lot of different platforms, bigger and smaller listing platforms. In the market where the availabilities are less, you see always that some landlords make abuse of the situation in a negative way. So we always advise our clients, our customers, to work with the most reliable platforms, Funda Operarius. The reason is that only real listing agents can list their properties on Funda Operarius. And if you go to smaller platforms, it can be reliable, but we cannot always do a background check. So we don't know if the landlord rents their property with a free sector market price is really a free sector apartment, and if they use the normal work of rental contracts, or if a landlord is reliable, or if it's just scam. So my advice is be very careful if you're going to go on other platforms. It can absolutely be trustful, but there is always a risk, and we want to eliminate most of the risks. So that's why we prefer to work only via Funda Operarius.
Great. And now I'd like to focus on market accessibility and pricing. What kind of budgets are accessible to individuals seeking housing in a free rental market nowadays?
Due to the recent change in law and the Affordable Housing Act coming into place since 1st of July 2024, so the mid-duur rental prices are up to 1,165 euros. But here you can only rent an apartment with a maximum income, so 64,000 for a single household and 85,000 for a more persons household. And most of our customers, expats moving from abroad, they earn more than the maximum income for a middle-duur rental apartments. And everything above this price, so let's say everything above 1,200 euros is free sector. But due to the shortage and the high demand, we have seen that there is no real segment from 1,200 to 2,000. Of course, the institutional investment companies offer some apartments, but there is a huge shortage. And the majority of the rental free sector rental houses start around 2,000 euros. As of 2,000 or 2,200 euros, there is a good chance you can find something on the market. Everything below 1,750 and above 1,200, it's difficult. There are possibilities, but the options are relatively low. And we also see that properties priced between 750 and 2,000. Oh yeah, so that's what I've explained. So the challenges for an expat with a budget up to 2,000 is difficult, and they don't find much options. And sometimes there is in the market only one option, and then you have to go for it.
Well, now the final question, to summarize everything we discussed today, Sijmon, how would you put it all together?
So let's say we cannot change the market itself, but we can certainly adapt and find creative solutions to overcome the challenges. We try to stay as positive as possible, and our shared goal together with the customers is to find a home and guide them through the whole process. For some persons, the whole process can be overwhelming and stressful, but we are a team and we work together and we try to remove as much stress as possible. And we work closely with each individual and providing support and try to make the experience positive and manageable as possible. Now, from your perspective, as a destination service provider, what are the key solutions do you think to make relocation successful?
Well, to answer your questions, in general terms, I think it all comes down to understanding one's needs. Being a local relocation provider, our mission is really to make the moving process as smooth and stress-free as we can for our clients. And we want them to feel confident and well taken care of every step of the way. In terms of specific guidance on successful, relocation or home search even, we focus our advice on budget-friendly solution as we carefully analyze each client's needs to identify the housing options and possibilities within their set budgets. We also make sure that they understand any hurdles and what options are available within their set budget. Often we have open discussions about the need of increasing their budgets to align with the current rental housing market, and also this taking into consideration the client's income, since, as we know, it's one of the key factors landlords consider, right? Also, geographical flexibility. So for those working with tighter budgets, such as we see quite often, 1,500, we encourage exploring areas outside of Amsterdam. For example, places like Almere, Hilversum, Zaandam, or Purmerend. We learned, especially nowadays, such smaller suburban towns often offer more affordable options, but also complement with good amenities and strong connectivity to the city.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And another question, how do you ensure the process remains manageable for the clients?
The success really comes down to preparation and clear communication. We always encourage our clients to have all of their documents ready before beginning the home search. Things like proof of income, employment contract, references, and a landlord introduction letter. Having everything prepared up front makes this application process much smoother, as we learned many times. And we often compare finding a home in the Netherlands to a job application process. Really, it can be lengthy, and landlords typically consider applications from many candidates. We also set realistic expectations early on. So this way we are helping clients understand the dynamics of the market and often the need for flexibility. Clients are advised to act also decisively during viewings, and they need to be prepared to adjust preferences or make compromises on requirements as well.
Yes, I agree. That's very helpful. And how would you like to conclude, or how would you like to wrap everything up, what you've just shared?
Well, to sum it all up, I'd just like to emphasize that our ultimate goal is to guide clients with clarity, helping them navigate challenges and understand their needs. We want to ensure they are well prepared, informed, and ready to take proactive steps themselves as well. By leveraging our local expertise, market insights, and strong partnerships with professionals like you, Sijmon, we ensure that clients feel fully supported every step of the way. Well, I would like to thank you once again for incredibly insightful information and this discussion and highlighting the realities of the market with us. And it's really been a pleasure speaking with you.
Likewise, and thank you for the invitation.
Thank you too.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.